Welcome back everyone to my channel, where today we will be taking a look at one of the best games of the 2022 season when two college football legends collided. The Fighting Irish of Notre Dame took on the Miami Hurricanes in what was a back and forth instant classic. It was a game that had it all: big plays, momentum swings, controversial calls, big-time performances from both teams. In the end, it would be the Fighting Irish who would come out on top after a last-second field goal. But not before the Canes gave them all they could handle. It was a performance by Miami that should have them feeling proud as they head into bowl season. And for Notre Dame, well, they got a huge win and answered some questions about their legitimacy as a playoff contender. So if you're ready to relive one of the best games of the year and remember or see for the first time some of the great moments from this matchup, then make sure to like and subscribe here. We always bring you the best highlights from college football, and today is no exception. So sit back and relax, because when these two teams met, legends were made. Let us go ahead and get right into it and start off with some big plays on both sides of the ball for both of these teams. This is a highlight reel after all. And let's begin with this big punt return by the Canes. Watch number 31 take the punt and turn it upfield, break a tackle, and then outrun the rest of the Irish defense to the end zone. Touchdown, Miami! But the Irish would answer right back. Check out how explosive this play was for Notre Dame. A simple little screen pass that turns into a 75-yard touchdown. There was nothing fancy about this play, just good execution. And before you knew it, the Irish answered right back and the shootout was on. It wouldn't take long for Miami to strike again. And this time it was through the air. You can see here that the Miami quarterback fakes the handoff, rolls out and lets it rip to his wide receiver, who makes an outstanding catch in traffic. A tough one to defend, as the defender actually deflects the pass, but it falls into the hands of the Canes receiver for 6. Miami strikes quickly again and takes the lead. And then out comes the Canes faithful doing the U. What a sight to see! Touchdowns and big defensive plays kept this game close as the Irish scored right back on a 1-yard plunge into the end zone. But then Miami answered again, this time on a pick 6. Look at this guy just drop into coverage and then pull down the interception and run it back for 6. What a play! The Canes would add another score on the ground and take a 28-21 lead into the half. But the Irish would answer once again and score right away in the third quarter. It was at this point in the game that it seemed like the team that scored first in the second half would come out victorious. And boy, did Notre Dame look poised to do that very thing. Momentum would swing back and forth for the remainder of the game, and each team would add a field goal before the fourth quarter even started. It was anybody's game, and it was clear that this was going to come down to the wire. And it would be Miami who struck first in the fourth. They went on a 14-play drive that ate up over 6 minutes of game clock and ended in a rushing touchdown. This was a gut-wrenching one for Notre Dame. It felt like they were on the verge of taking control of the game. But instead it was Miami who scored. But, oh man, did the Irish have an answer for this? Check out this beautiful pass by the Notre Dame quarterback. He drops back, looks for an outlet, and finds his wideout wide open in the end zone. Touchdown, Irish! It was at this point in the game that you had to wonder if the Irish had all the momentum. Miami would answer, though, and it came on a controversial play. This was a wild one! On 3rd and long, the Miami quarterback scrambles and laterals the ball to his running back, who then laterals it back to the quarterback. And just as he's about to go out of bounds, He laterals it to a receiver who dives into the end zone for the score. I'm not really sure if this should have counted as a lateral or a forward pass, but either way, the Canes added the score and took the lead once again. The Irish would answer back again, though, and it was all because of a block punt. Here you can see the Canes punter trying to get the ball away. And just as he does, an Irish player gets a hand on it and redirects it right into the arms of another waiting Irish player. He then takes it to the house. Touchdown, Irish! From there, the Irish defense would step up and force a punt, and they would take over with a chance to win the game. All they needed was a field goal. So they began driving down the field. It was a methodical drive that took over 6 minutes off the clock and chewed up over 50 yards. And as the clock wound down, they would get the ball to the 1-yard line with only seconds remaining. And here it is, game-winning field goal attempt. Can he get it? Yes! Yes, he does! The Fighting Irish win a thriller over the Hurricanes. What a game! Now let's take a moment to appreciate the outstanding performances from both teams. For the Hurricanes, they had several players who stood out. First, of course, there was the quarterback. In his first game against a ranked opponent, he showed poise and leadership beyond his years. He finished the game completing over 70% of his passes for nearly 400 yards and for touchdowns through the air. He also added another score on the ground. The Canes running back had a monster game as well, rushing for over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. He was a workhorse for the Canes, carrying the ball 29 times and wearing down the Irish defense. Wide receiver had a career day as well, hauling in 9 passes for over 170 yards and a pair of scores. He was a big target for the quarterback and was able to make tough catches in traffic. Defensively, linebacker was all over the field, recording a team-high 12 tackles. He was a tackling machine and was always around the ball. Cornerback had a great game as well, defending passes and recording a key interception. He was a lockdown corner and was able to shut down the Irish wideouts. For the Fighting Irish, they had a few players who stepped up and made big plays. Running back rushed for over 100 yards and a touchdown. He was a workhorse for the Irish, carrying the ball 20 times and wearing down the Canes' defense. Wide receiver hauled in 5 passes for over 100 yards and a touchdown. He was a big target for the quarterback and was able to make tough catches in traffic. Quarterback played a solid game as well, completing over 60% of his passes for over 200 yards and a score. He also added another touchdown on the ground. Linebacker recorded a team-high 11 tackles and was all over the field. He was a tackling machine and was always around the ball. Defensive end had a big game as well, recording 2 sacks and pressuring the quarterback all day long. He was a disruptive force on the defensive line and was able to get in the backfield. Overall, this was a great game that came down to the wire. It was a back and forth battle that could have gone either way. And in the end, it was the Fighting Irish who came out on top. Congratulations to them. But let's not forget the Canes. They put up a heck of a fight and should be proud of their effort. And that's all we have for you today. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave us a like and subscribe to our channel. We always bring you the best college football highlights, so don't miss out. That's all for now. See you next time.